color-coated you see in rural demand, in rural market. Moving on to our next panelist, we have the brain of this webinar, Dr. Shubh Gautam, Chief Technical Architect, American Precoat, California. Let me give a little introduction about Dr. Shubh Gautam. Having worked for Goldman Sachs and other Fortune 50 companies before his home calling, he finally founded and established the Serisol American Precoat Group in 1996, a B.Tech from IIT Kharagpur and alumna of IIM Ahmedabad. He has been at the front end of innovations and scientific developments for more than 2 decades. Winner of numerous international recognitions like Geneva Star Quality Award and recipient of Marquis Who's Who in Science and Engineering in 2008. Under his leadership, the Serisol Group today is the world's second largest group producing lining system for the food and beverage industry and a market leader in sealing lining solution and coil coating, along with other value-added products like aerospace coating and specialty chemicals. In a short span of 2 decades, American Precoat not only holds numerous intellectual property rights, but also takes up turnkey projects in the regulatory compliance domain. I welcome you, Dr. Shubh Gautam. Over to you. Please unmute your mic. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica. Would you let me share my screen with everybody?
I'm making you a presenter.
Sure. Very good afternoon, everybody, and a very good afternoon to Sridharji, Mr. P.V. Mohan, Mr. Sanjay Sahni, Mr. Ashwini Sharma. I hope I didn't miss out anybody. Monica, thank you for organizing in Metalogic back team. Friends who are part of this seminar. The opening slide obviously talks about what I intend to say. We have specialists here in terms of ArcelorMittal Steel, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, who would talk about user experience, consumer behavior, market segmentation, portfolio management. I'm here to talk about what is color-coated steel and myths and facts about color-coated steel. This is what India was in 2008 on your left. If you landed on Mumbai airport, this is what you would see. And if you see on the right, this is what you see when you land here, right? So what are we doing? We are basically changing one roof at a time. Welcome to the world of color-coated steel. So when we get into the world of color-coated steel, what is it? The question is, why do we need color on steel? Because we have zinc. We have zinc and aluminum called galvalume. And now we've got zinc, aluminum, and magnesium. So why do we need color? And of course, we need color because we are in the business of protection. And what is the business of protection? Business of protection is pretty simple. A king protects a kingdom. A father protects a family. A CEO protects an organization. And make no mistakes, color protects steel. Color is not for the aesthetics of it. And I'll come back on this point a little later because we've got about 10 minutes to share. This is a history of galvanizing. Early 1900, there were cold roll mills and hot rolling mills. And then probably someone called Mr. Senzheimer, a Polish native, he introduced something where you dip a steel into a molten zinc. Between 20 and 30, World War I is just about finished. In the process, by 1938, Mr. Senzheimer had an operating galvanizing line. By 1915, American steel companies knew the process was solid. And between 1945 and 58, they built 60 Senzheimer galvanizing lines. The question is, why is galvanizing called Galva? Galva is not a Latin name. It's not any other French name for zinc. Why do we call it galvanizing? Because of a scientist called Luigi Galvani, who introduced to the planet the process of electrochemical engineering. And that was using different metals. And that was followed by another brilliant scientist called Alessandro Volta, who said electropotential between two metals, creating a corrosion cell. And in awe of their their contribution to the world of electrochemistry, Sir Humphrey Davy drew the conclusion that zinc protects steel. I'm quoting Galva info on this. Zinc protects steel and hence galvanic protection in the honor of Luigi Galvani. That's why we call it galvanizing, just to let you know. And when you say galvanizing, what you see here is an alloy layer. If you take a galvanized steel, on the bottom and the top is a very complex mixture of what we call iron, aluminum, and zinc. It's a very complex mixture. It's called alloy layer, and this is responsible for protection, which is so it protects. Zinc, aluminum protects steel. How many types of hot dip coatings are there? I'm talking about the basics. We have galvanized, which is 100% zinc. We have galvalume, 45-55 zinc and aluminum. We have galfam, 95%, 5%. We've got zinc, aluminum, magnesium, which has 2 to 4% magnesium. We have galvanneal, 10% of iron. And with this, today there are more than 854 sophisticated galvanized coating lines on this planet. But that's about galvanized. Why do we need color? We need color because we have to make beautiful appliances, fridges, microwaves, washing machines, refrigerators, aluminum composite panel for architectural applications. We have to make a lot of accessories, the downspouts, etc. And these happen in a color-coated steel. We make air conditioners. We make convectors out of color-coated steel. We make sandwich panel. Sandwich panel is a beautiful insulation property that helps typically in countries like India in hot climate. We make beautiful garage doors out of color-coated steel. We make awesome roofs out of color-coated steel, which are warranted for up to 40 years. This is a live photograph where American Precoat has contributed in this project. So the question is, this is a truck trailer body with a solar panel on top, which is a product out of pre-painted steel, color-coated steel, essentially. So what is color-coated steel? If you look at steel, and if steel was 6 feet wide, so you take 0.5 mm. 0.5 mm is the thickness of a typical color-coated steel used for roofing application, architectural application. You imagine that 0.5 mm to be 6 feet. What you see here is this tiny little layer on two sides is the metallic layer, and then that tiny layer after that is color. This is the breakup of the contribution of color to the entire steel. That's all the color does to a steel. If I would like to present a steel as a 6 feet long bar, this is how much color we put on. Why I'm telling you is the cost implications of color and the value proposition of color versus the performance that it offers us. So what do we say? Coil coatings or color-coated steel, why do we use them? A, aesthetics. B, protection. C, shelf life of pre-painted steel. And D, all of the above. Of course, the answer is all of the above. Now, when you say the answer is all of the above, the bigger question comes is, what is the enemy of color-coated steel? And this is where the entire fact and fiction comes in. Even today in India, people buy color-coated steel by measuring the amount of zinc and zinc aluminum. My question is, barrier protection that defines the protectability coming from zinc is because in a typical galvanized steel, zinc is exposed to the atmosphere. When you put color on top of it, what is exposed to the atmosphere, zinc or color? So when we buy color-coated steel, our first discussion should be on color or should it be on zinc? Our first discussion should be on quality of color or should be on grammage of zinc? Our first point of discussion should be on cost of color or should be on quantity of zinc. And this is where things could be better. This is a toothpaste. And what does a toothpaste have? Let me tell you what a coating is. If toothpaste was a final product, then the cellulose gum is the resin. It's the resin that makes the color. The hydrated silica, the mica, and the titanium dioxide are the pigment that give you that beautiful look. The solvent is water, and additives are sorbitol. This is how a coating is manufactured. It's got too many ingredients. We did a small project in Middle East because Middle East prides itself to be one of the most quality conscious segments in this part of surrounding Asia. And this we do probably every 3 years. And this was part of one of our mandates, benchmarking quality at Jabal Ali. And I'm sharing these things with due permission from our partners and coworkers. This was done in Jabal Ali to prove a point. This is a building structure and free trade zone in Jabal Ali, UAE. What is the problem? Is problem corrosion or problem fading? Is problem corrosion or problem peeling? Is problem corrosion or problem is chalking? This is another building in Jabal Ali. If you see this huge green, they used to be dark green, they've become light green. Is this corrosion or is this fading, peeling, and chalking? Let's move forward. This is another building in Jabal Ali. They're all Jabal Alis. And they were the best color-coated steel that money could buy. This is Canon. Canon sued the pre-engineered building manufacturer who erected this 3 million square feet site for them. Is corrosion the problem? So when we speak about color-coated steel, why do we only talk about corrosion? You show me a corroded steel, one color-coated corroded steel, and I will show you at least 100 faded, peeled, and chalked color-coated steel. What is the point that I'm trying to make? The point that I'm trying to make is coatings help. Coatings are phenomenal products that improve the property of the surface. And if the weathering happens on the surface, then let us look at coatings from a different angle. Color-coated steel is not about zinc, not about grammage of zinc and grammage of zinc in aluminum. Color-coated steel is about color. Let me give you some small little snippets of what coatings can do in life. And these are small videos I'm playing for you. This is a treated product with a very special American Precoat coil coat. And what we are adding on it is ink, because ink is smudgy in nature, right? And see what happens. This is acid going on an untreated color-coated panel. This is acid going on in a good color-coated panel. Look at the difference within 10 minutes. A good color-coated panel versus another color-coated panel. Let me take you back and let me play this for you. This is a treated color-coated steel. Look how ink completely runs off the product. Let me play it for you again. The ink completely runs off the product. And I'm going to come and explain to you what corrosion is all about. Let's go to the next. Bolt and oil test. Bolt and oil test.
Dr. Shubh Gautam. Dr. Shubh Gautam, yes. Sorry to interrupt. Mr. Sridhar has to leave right now, and he will try to join us during the Q&A. I just wanted to make an announcement that he's leaving right now. Thank you, Mr. Sure. Sridhar. I hope you will be able to join the Q&A. Thank you so much. Dr. Gautam, please continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So this is what happens. People say when we erect buildings, we have grease that is applied. We have scratches on the roofs. And because of the scratches, the color comes off. And because the color comes off, hence zinc is there. I can tell you we have scratch hardness that can go up to 3,000 kgs on a point load. You know what that means? It's 3,000 grams on a point load, which means for 3,000 grams on a point load, a human being will have to weigh more than 425 kgs. This is a bolt and nut test. Let me play it for you.
So is there any audio with the video? Because we are not able to hear
No,
the video.
no,
So
no. There's no audio. It's only visuals. There's
okay.
a point I'm trying to make. Can you believe this is all because of coatings? Look at this carefully, this particular thing. Coatings are valuable. Coatings give you all kinds of anti-corrosive treatments. And how corrosion happens is I'll come back once we stop the share scheme. Look at this carefully. This is a paper napkin. This is a paper napkin. And if you add water to it, nothing happens. The same thing is applied on steel. And this is two paper napkins. One is seated on the left, other one is not seated on the right. What happens if we dip this into a bowl of water? We take it out. Can you believe it? The paper napkin on the left is still dry. If water will not stay on the steel will not corrode. That's how important paints and coatings are to steel. And these are live lab videos made just for people to understand that these are not simple color-coded steel. Color is the lifeline in color-coded steel. So we should talk about color when we talk about steel. Let me take you back to this. These on the left is a gentleman wearing a shirt and a pant which has not been treated. On the right, it has been treated, and look what happens. It's a live video. These are a couple of co-workers who volunteered. Can you believe this? If this would apply to your roofing sheets, would your roofing sheets ever corrode? Corrosion happens when water stands. If water would not stand, corrosion would not happen. So understanding India, and let me quote here, Randy Posh. The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. We stand at the precipice of going from 2.3 million tons to 4 million tons of color-coded steel. And we don't know what color is. I'll end by saying, life is always new, mind is always old. Life is never old, mind is never new, hence they never meet. With this, I'll stop sharing and I'll go live. Monica, can you take me live again?
Oh.
Yes. The last point that I want to make in color-coded steel, and this is where the fact and fiction comes in. Typical specification of a color-coded steel is 5 microns primer and 15 to 18 microns of top coat, right? Do you know, gentlemen, what is 5 microns? Wikipedia says if I draw one hair, one human hair, the average diameter of one human hair is 100 microns. 100 microns. And what are we saying? We're applying 5 microns of primer and saying, wow, we have a primer on top of color-coded steel. We are better off not applying that primer, because that 5 micron primer with a deviation of 2 microns is actually 3 microns. Splice one human hair in 100 parts, what you get is the primer that you have on color-coded steel. Color is not for aesthetics. Color is more important than zinc. Color is more important than zinc and aluminum, because we are in the business of protection. When we talk about imported steel coming from Vietnam, we talk about they're not giving us the same zinc quality. Now, instead of saying that to make a quality product in color-coded steel, we need to have 120 GSM zinc, why don't we say that we need to have a galvanic potential which is in excess of minus 4.2 millivolts? Why do we say zinc? Why don't we talk about the protection that we are looking for? We're not looking for zinc when we buy color-coded steel. We want zinc when we buy galvanized steel. When we buy color-coded steel, we're buying color. Let me give you a practical example in India, and I verified this an hour ago. A 5012 is available for 140 rupees a kg, the blue color. A 5012 is also available for 200 rupees a kg. Now, when we buy color-coded steel, should we not ask what was the price of the color that was put on the steel? Oh, we need 120 GSM, but we need the worst blue on top of it. And then we want to say, this is the best steel because it's got 120 GSM. How wise are we? When the color-coded product fades, when it chalks, when it peels, the zinc is sleeping. Zinc aluminum is sleeping. And we pay for zinc and aluminum, and we don't pay for color, and we call it quality. Standards kill innovations. Make no mistakes. If there were standards in Silicon Valley, there would never have been a company called Apple. Protection comes from color. Color is important. I'll give you 3 reasons why I'm talking this. You take any coil coating. You take it and do a filler test on it. Filler means how much of that paint has fillers. There is no such test in India. No customer wants to do the test. Filler is a way to reduce cost. We want to make the best quality color-coated steel with the worst quality of paint. And we talk about BIS standards. How wise are we? Color-coated steel, let's talk about color first. Now, the second myth is, when we apply fasteners on our roofing sheet, there is a slight rubber flange. It is supposed to fit on the sheet. And when you apply pressure, there's a dent. Now, the problem is the quality of fasteners are bad, and it's a recycled rubber ring. So the rubber vanishes in 6 months, so you have a gap between the color-coated steel and the fastener. And there is a dent, so there's water accumulation. And because water will accumulate, and there is a cut edge, so I need a large amount of zinc to protect me. It's a myth. It's a complete myth. Apply good quality fasteners. Why should they give away? And number 2, have the kind of coatings we showed you in the video. Let me tell you, if water stands, water will find its way through. There's no way to prevent water. That is how strong adversary water is. That's why we call it waterproofing. We never give guarantee. You have any best infrastructure cast cement slab. You stand water on it, water will pass through. It's a question of time. How much time will it take? The second myth is, when we
you need to conclude,
cut
sir.
a galvanized steel, zinc rolls. Zinc rolls only up to a thickness of 0.35 millimeters. And this is not my information. This comes from Galvinfo. And Galvinfo is a body which promotes zinc. Their lobbying budget in Washington, D.C. is in excess of hundreds of millions of dollars. Zinc cannot flow on a 0.5, 0.6, 0.7 millimeter steel. Zinc is not rubber. This is a myth. Laptops 10 years back used to be 5 kg. Today they are 600 grams. Laptop 10 years back used to have 80 MB of hard disk. Today they have 1 terabyte. Lightweighting is the norm of the day. If you lightweight, you save so much for the country. This is where innovation should be.
Dr. Gautam, sorry to interrupt.
People say, yeah, 1 more minute. This is the reason. Yeah, 1 more minute. When people say scratches happen, so zinc is required, you have scratchless coatings today. The question is, we don't want to pay for it, but do the math. If you take away a little zinc and you take a better coated top coat, where do you save? I'll sum up, since Monica is after my life. Primer 3 microns is as good as 0, let me tell you. As good as 0. If you want to apply primer, have 10 microns. 1 human hair is 100 microns. It's a sham. Number 2, top coat should be the best quality, not the cheapest quality. Paint should be the best quality. It's like saying, if you had 5 qualities of zinc, today zinc is 250 rupees a kg. If you have 5 qualities, the cheapest being 125 rupees a kg, will be by 250 rupees kg or 125 rupees kg zinc. Scratch resistance, fasteners, it's a myth. Color-coated steel is the future. It's one of the greatest innovative subjects we have. This country is growing. We have the best chemists here. We have the best coatings, best steel mills, best lines, best engineers, best consumers. It's a great thing. Let's not mess it up. Let's not buy color-coated steel by asking how much grammage is zinc. Let's buy color-coated steel by asking what is the quality of top coat? What is the quality of paint?
Right, sir.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you for organizing this. Thank you for